All right. This is episode 1, going big time. I'm Mike P, and behind the camera is Steve. He's helping me out today, pressing record. Thanks, Steve. Big job. So today, lesson 1. Let's get started. I want to talk about bass drum, where we can put it, right? Probably seen a million videos on this, but you know what? I'm going to tell you anyway, because you got to know it. I used to teach for, or I used to play in a class for a teacher who was like a jazz guitar teacher, and he once said to more than a few students that if you don't know the names of the notes on the neck, you're a guitar owner, not a guitar player. Pretty cold stuff, but I don't know. I kind of agree with it. And I think that goes for the drum set as well. If you don't know how to count or where notes can land and know what that means, I think you're kind of messing around. And I think it's better if maybe you know what you're doing, so that you can communicate. Because that's the thing, right? Is like all these skills that we learn, from reading to counting, all that stuff. Like anything that's music school, right? It's not to be better than anybody else. It's to, know your instrument and know your passion, what you're into. You want to commit to knowing everything about it. So it's also really good to be able to communicate. Communication is everything in life, and might as well be for drums too. So that's why we're here. So what we want to do is we want to be able to play all these bass drums in all the different places, right? We're going to focus on 16th notes today. We're going to do downbeats, all the upbeats, right? Numbers, E's, ands, and U's. So you can see what I was doing earlier was just messing around, right? And that's where we want to get. We want to be able to just do whatever we want, right? And be confident in it. So, sorry, I'm getting over something, so I got some crud in the throat. But yeah, let's start this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through the cycle. I'm going to play all the numbers. I'm going to play all the E's, all the ands, and then all the U's, which is how we count 16th notes, right? So we want to be able to do this counting quarter notes, counting eighth notes, counting all the 16th notes, right? We want to be able to do it all. So let's get at it. So starting with quarter notes, right? We're just doing 8 notes on the hi-hat, snare drum 2 and 4. We can get creative with that stuff later. We just want to lock in the bass drum first. So here we go. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Makes for good lyrics too, if you want to learn some background vocals, maybe some main vocals. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. That's pretty good, but we'll see. I don't know. I'll write that down. But then we can do the E's, right? E's. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That was a good one. That can be hard for, people who haven't done this before or whatever, new people. But either way, I've taught some intermediate people who, once we get into this stuff, it's like, whoa, I didn't know that. So yeah, it can really magnify some weak points. So get into it. All right, ands. 1, 2, 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Another easy one, right? Those are all lined up with the hi-hats. No biggie. No biggie. Uz. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Cool. All of them. So you want to be able to go through all those, right? You can start getting creative with when you change. Maybe do just 2 beats, right? Beats 1 and 2, move on to the next one, 3 and 4, whatever. Do a bar of number 1, go to number 2, go back to number 1, number 3, back to number 1. You can mess around with it, right? You want to get all those different transitions. Because again, if you don't know what you're playing, it's going to be tough to do this in a band. You're going to save a lot of time if you know what you're doing, right? So do that. Know your stuff. Next, let's do doubles. So now, every consecutive 16th note, we're going to play with it. So if we're doing the downbeats, right, all the numbers, we're going to also play the E. If we focus on the E's, we're going to do the E plus the and. So let's get into that. So let's start with our rock samba. It's the number and the right? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Yeah, so that's the idea. And then we can move on. Let's do the and Easy one. Didn't even count it. Didn't need to. Okay, then the E and. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. And then my favorite, I like to call this one the Papa Roach drum beat. And if you're lucky enough to have remembered them, good for you. One E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's it. So yeah, that's all of them. So go through these. Maybe I'll put up a PDF on my little channel underneath. I don't know. Everyone's doing stuff like that where they charge you money for really simple stuff. So I don't know. You can check it out, but either way, this whole concept is something I give all my students, and none of them practice it. They all hate it, but for me, it was really great, and I feel like it made me smarter, and it made me better at what I do, and made understanding rhythm in general better, especially on the full kit, and making things work together, getting your coordination together. It's got a lot of advantages, so recommend. All right, another topic I want to talk about is diversifying your skills. I want to say as a musician, but that's only part of it. So this topic reminds me of a Mitch Hedberg joke. Great comedian. Check him out if you haven't, because you're probably young, so you may not know who he is. There's been a lot of rip-offs since then. Some of them good, some of them not so good, but he was the best. Check him out. So he had this joke that was like about him coming to Hollywood and people want him to do everything but comedy, basically. And so one of those, his analogy for that, his joke was like a chef goes to culinary school, become the best chef they can, right? And they learn all their knife skills and all these different cuisines from all over the world. And they get out of school and they're ready to just open a restaurant or be head chef at a restaurant. And they're like, cool, can you farm? And it's like, that's where we're at in the music world, and probably most other things too. But, world's falling apart. So we got musicians being videographers and whatever, you name it. But it's like, you go to school and it's like, you learn like bossa nova, right? And it's like you've been a rock person your whole life, but it's like you had to like really figure this stuff out and like get really hip with it. And it's like, yeah, but can you analyze TikTok analytics? It's like, okay, yeah, but do you know about like parallel compression? Okay, now we need you to learn like 8 pieces of software that's going to be completely obsolete in like a year. It's like, okay, yeah, let's just arrange a whole orchestra. Just like you've been being a rock drummer your whole life, but can you just arrange a whole orchestra for me? Whatever, like, so, whatever. So you go big time.